Hi, my name's Steve Rowe and I'm talking today to Chris Rowen. Chris Rowen is 6th Dan in the art of Goju Ryu karate, and Chris and I have been friends for some 20 something years, and we thought that you the viewers would be interested in the life that Chris has led through Goju Ryu karate, his trip to Japan and his experiences there, and when he came back here to England. So first and foremost, I'd like to say welcome, Chris.
Okay, welcome Steve, welcome viewers.
And if we can start, if you can tell the viewers kind of a little bit about your background and how you got involved in the martial arts in the first place.
Okay, well, at the age of 2, for Christmas, I was given a punch bag for boxing, and so I started boxing.
Wasn't one of them little ones you stick to the floor, was it?
That's right, the little springy things, and you used to hit it, you used to come back, and you used to hit it, knock yourself out more times and knock the ball out. From then I went on to doing boxing as a school kid. I used to do boxing quite extensively, box for the school and various bits and pieces. And somebody mentioned the word karate, and at the time I didn't know whether it was something you ate or what you did with it. I had no idea what it was about. The first martial arts club which I went to, that would be like a Kempo club. Somebody mentioned something like, try this art called Kempo, which is a mixture of, well, at that time it seemed to be like karate and jiu-jitsu in some ways. It had some aspects of that to it.
Right.
And so I spent some time with it. I quite enjoyed it. It was something. It was all new. Yet I was still looking for something a bit more. Around about that time as well, started getting involved in jiu-jitsu. I started studying jiu-jitsu as well, which I found quite fascinating. To this day, I still have a lot of respect for jiu-jitsu. I think it's a nice art.
Did you find Kempo and jiu-jitsu quite similar at that time?
Yeah, in some ways. I mean, it was almost like the Kempo was kind of complemented the jiu-jitsu atemi, was all the striking techniques. Also, some of the Kempo techniques had throwing techniques in it as well, which was with the jiu-jitsu, so that was quite interesting.
Because you were doing jiu-jitsu when you went to Japan in the first place?
Yeah, I was already doing jiu-jitsu.
So
I was already downgrading jiu-jitsu in the 70s, in the early 70s.
How did you find the training in those clubs in those days? Everyone always says, oh, it's really hard. And
here in the UK and stuff like that, it was kind of interesting actually. There was a number, I don't know how much I should reveal, but there's a number of stories. It was quite difficult, shall we say, on occasions. People were quite dedicated.
Because all the old boys say it was really hard, don't they?
Well, I think people train very hard today as well. I do, and I think some of the training methodology which was used at that time, you wouldn't get away with it now. Too much against health and safety, shall we say. But people were training hard, quite dedicated, and a lot of cases people were searching, people were looking for knowledge, and in some cases there wasn't a great deal out there, but you took whatever was available and you were grateful for that. Because
this was just about in the Bruce Lee type era then as well.
Yeah, that's just before the Bruce Lee era. I mean, at that time there was not that many people training at all. And then I remember when the Bruce Lee thing boom started, and crikey, the clubs were just annihilated. There's everybody and the grandmother, and it was interesting, but I knew at an early age that it was a bit of hard work was involved to try and get any degree of competence. I think what motivated me more than anything was what I liked about the martial arts in general, karate, not being specific, but karate, all of the martial arts, was that there's a resonance in there. There's something of a deeper meaning. I just didn't want to be doing an art whereby I'm getting fit. I've done sports, I could have continued with sports to do that. So I was looking for something else, something which had more of like a mental dimension, or something, in a sense almost like a spirituality dimension as well, meditative introspection aspect to it. And I'd heard of things which were available out in Japan, and so I did a couple of trips prior to going over there and spending an extended period of time. And I remember on one of my first visits when I went over there, I visited Shirinji Kempo dojos. I trained in that, and that was quite similar to some of the jiu-jitsu which I had, which was very fond memories, and it was welcome. So, but there was this idea of get out there, that life is once, it's a breath, life is, we have this chance, everybody's got the potential to do that thing, and I never wanted to be like 60 sat in the corner of a pub turning around to somebody. I could have done something when I was and never having done it, so that kind of like spurred me on. So
again, from the viewer's point of view, that's quite interesting, because a lot of people say, I train in the martial arts to learn how to fight. are, you know, are training the martial arts for the fitness and the health, and the fighting and the health aspects seem to be very important. And it's almost like people poo-poo the spiritual dimension of training. And what you're saying is, you know, this was the thing that guided you to go out there.
Yes, it was really, yeah.
Interesting.
It was. I mean, as I said, I'd done boxing, I've been doing jiu-jitsu. I did, in the early days of the fledglings, I always say full contact karate, I was involved in that, and having been disqualified for knocking somebody out, I had some experience of those kind of things, you know. So
But I can even remember from our days of 23 years ago, a few people bore the bruises, shall we say. You went out for a couple of times and
I
had
did a couple of times.
Was this when you kind of made the switch from jiu-jitsu to karate as well?
Well, still doing the karate in a limited way, but it was the main guiding light there. The privilege to get in contact with Hanshi Yamaguchi Gogen, and I went across, and then I came back and I got in contact again. It was a case of, well, if you really want to come and learn, then you should come. And
how did you get guided to him?
Essentially, somebody had mentioned him to me, some acquaintances of mine. Also, having read some of the magazines and some of the stories of the legendary Yamaguchi Gogen, and also knowing that he had the trinity of, you know, the physical, and spiritual, and the mental. He really worked on all those areas, as well as introducing yoga and meditation, as well as you know, good, hard, solid physical training as well.
Because there's all those powerful pictures of him under the waterfall.
Under the waterfall, yes.
In his cat stance. They stick with me still. Yeah.
Exceptionally charismatic person, wonderful person.
And long hair. And,
that's right.
In the end, he invited you to stay. Come and stay.
So in the end, I decided to go over there, which entailed giving up my job. But people saying committing professional suicide, giving up the home, and literally going out there and having to survive in a very alien culture to begin with.
But you were young and single and free at the time.
Absolutely.
You wasn't running away from somebody.
I was not running away from anybody. I always retreat backwards. I can see them.
So having given up your sort of profession and home and so long, how long was the period of time that you had to stay for?
The period over like 3 years. It's a 3-year period over there, and the majority of that time was spent at the Hombu Dojo, which used to be in Suginami-ku, which is an area of Tokyo. I also had the opportunity to train in Kobudo in Okinawa, where I was fortunate enough to be taught by Master Akamine Etsuke, who
famous weapons master.
Absolutely brilliant weapons master. Absolutely tremendous man, tremendous gentleman. Some of the hardest training I ever had was under his tutelage, and of course I was with Hanshi Gogen Yamaguchi, and of course his son Goju Yamaguchi as well. Yes, extremely.
And of course the question that I'm sure every viewer would be dying to ask is, what was the training like, particularly under Yamaguchi Gogen?
Well, the training offered at the Hombu Dojo was really good. A lot of the daytime classes, the majority of the classes would be taken by Goju Yamaguchi, and she's son, and he's a technical exponent. He's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant gentleman. His forte is in his technical expertise and everything like that. And she sometimes would take people to give talks and lectures and go over various things of a more interesting nature. I remember on one occasion we'd do what was called not shugyo, kind of like austere training sometimes, which would be going out into the countryside, doing like a half marathon round
these are the things you always imagine,
breaking the ice in the lake, getting into the lake, kicking like heck, and you know, getting this is in the depth of winter, by the way, finding that your body isn't responding as well as what you want to do, then go back inside to the dojo and doing kumite and everything like that, and constantly it was tough. It was quite interesting, and other recollections, memorable moments would be being told, okay, let's go out for some mountain training. So we'd get into minibuses, drive out into the Japanese Alps, and be left there and said the hut or the place where you stay tonight is just at the top of just a couple of minutes walk. So after about a 2-3 hour climb at the depth of night, you emerged into this pit where, you know, it's like the Marie Celeste, abandon all hope, you enter here. And so we'd go in and then be woken up literally 2 hours later and just out training on like a plateau. What we didn't realise at the time was that as it became lighter, the sun was rising, and the backdrop was Mount Fuji. So it was really lovely, but you know, good hard training.
So it was sort of austerity training as such. It was hard training, but you've got the beauty and the surroundings, and to really put it in nice and deep.
Exactly, yes. And also sometimes, apart from training in the Hombu Dojo, we'd be taken out into parks to get used to training on uneven ground, on different open countryside, within trees, within forests and stuff like that. So you're changing the concept of your space, or where you're using, and you're having to work upon your stances to be able to maintain that centering and to be able to center yourself in not always the same familiar circumstance, which is a good metaphor for life, actually.
Right. People often talk about bullying in Japan, bullying of foreigners. Yeah. How did you come across any of that?
I came across people who told me they were bullied, and also I think like bullying can be almost like a state of mind in some ways. I know there's certain stories from different schools, I hasten to add, where people had gone over there and really were like, it's unacceptable, quite honestly. You know, they were bullied to the point of really there's nothing to be proud about at all. And
at that time there was not too many people from other nationalities in Japan as well.
Possibly, yeah. I think there was a case of that. There weren't that many people, or else people would come for a short time and go. And not many people tended to stay for an extended period. You know, people would come for a few weeks and then go back and things like that. But for an extended period, if you work hard and if you try to apply yourself, and you go with it, you know, with the proper attitude, then it's good. So, was it bullying? No, I can't say. I trained hard. I was trained hard, and I was pushed. I mean, I was really pushed. And people,
for your own good.
But it was for my own good, and so I mean, I know I've had bruises everywhere, broken feet and hands, fingers, all that. But I would never say any of it was not in the pursuit of knowledge.
A pleasant way of learning. How did you deal with the language barriers?
Language was difficult at first. It was really, really difficult at first, and so fortunately there's some people who could speak some English, but after a little while I just got tired of, you know, trying to explain or be like a 5-year-old, you know, I want to eat or I want to sleep, and so I decided I got a book and I tried to, in between the training times, literally try to study and learn the language, and that wasn't always easy. You made mistakes, but I wasn't bothered about making mistakes. What was important was to try to get it right. And there's one anecdote which I just felt was really quite good. I thought I was doing quite well in, getting somewhere in Japanese, and within Tokyo itself, as you know, it's extremely crowded, and so what you just get little mama-sans, or little old ladies, I'd say that in a very affectionate way, who used to come in from the countryside where they grow radishes and vegetables, take them into the city, literally with backpacks on, and sell them on street corners and things like that. So you to get this. So I'm walking on the station one day, and I had this little tap on my back, turned around, and this lady looks up. She got a shock seeing a foreigner, you know, and she was asking where such and such a place was, and I actually happened to know where it was. So the Japanese said, well, what you do is you go out to the station, you turn left, you come to a bridge, you go over the bridge. On the left-hand side, there's a police box, and you'll find it just after there. Only problem was my Japanese for bridge and chopsticks is very, very similar. So I need to go out of the station, cross over the chopsticks, and it's on your left. But she got it, and
your mother's a donkey.
Whatever. But it was fun and it was interesting.
Because you've learned the language that well now that you translate.
I do translation.
Japanese and English and so on. So
to some extent,
not an easy language to learn.
It's not an easy language, but it's fascinating, and I think if you like something, if you have the opportunity to become absorbed in something and people are there to assist you and help you, that's wonderful. And even now when I look at what I've done, I mean, it's only thanks to the people who, you know, gave up their time to me, who you know, gave me the opportunity to do that, and so I'm eternally grateful to those people.